Hi guys, I hope you're all well. So it's going to come as no surprise that I am absolutely hooked on the game Pillage. Love the gameplay, love how easy it is to pick up. Obviously, fun game to play, and more importantly, I get to paint tons and tons of miniatures, so I can make up some large war bands, as well as have fun making up the actual board game, which is something I've never really done before. This kind of board game. Obviously, loads of videos out there, so you can go check them out to see me painting the miniatures as well as making the board game and obviously all the scenery that goes with it. So yeah, the game Pillage. One of the things I really love about it is the different scenarios you can play. So I'm getting into a little routine now, playing every other week with my mate. And our recent scenario was Pilgrimage, where the defender, that was me, had to get some of these monks. You start with three of them, and one of them has a relic, which you have to get from one side of the board to the other. And yeah, had a ton of fun playing this. I say the games are really good because they're nice and fast. Lasted about 2 hours, and there was lots of casualties along the way. I thought I was doing really well to begin with because I'd been reading all the rules and I made a shield wall with some spearmen behind, and I thought, yeah, I'm onto a winner. Unfortunately, the attacker can hide some of his people. They jumped out of a tree and flanked me from behind. So yeah, a well thought out game. It was going to go either way several times, but obviously there is always just the one winner and a loser. And finally, it was my turn to win. So played several games already, to which I haven't won yet. um, but this time I did win. I managed to get one of the my little priests or monks or whatever you want to call them off the edge of the board with the relic to win the game. But obviously, when you win, you don't get anything for it. So that's why I thought I want to make a trophy or something to indicate who's the winner each week. But rather than sort of printing out a gold trophy, because where's the fun in that? Yeah, I thought I would do something a little bit better, and I'm making a trophy that's kind of, well, a little diorama as well. And what I've gone for is these. Yeah, some good old jousting knights. Obviously, these are absolutely gorgeous looking. I'll leave links down below. So it's Asgard Rising. They do a ton of sort of medieval figures, from bowmen um, to sort of obviously guys with swords, shields, all of that kind of stuff. But they also do a lot of things on horses. And these guys, yeah, jousting. It seems like a great sort of great theme to have because obviously it'll fit in well. So using some of their miniatures and also went to printable scenery. Again, we'll leave links down below. This is where I get most of the scenery for my board. But they've also recently come out with this jousting sort of set, which I think again looks absolutely amazing. I was going to think about doing the whole lot of this set because I want to make it just a smallish trophy. I'm just going to use the wooden bit that divides the two horses. So I've got my files. Now it's time to start printing things off, and I'm using the Halo X one. You'll have seen me use this quite a lot recently. Lovely little printer. Obviously, it's orange, which is my favourite colour. That makes it even better. But a couple of neat features with this, and one is rather than the plate going down to the vat actually rises upwards and goes to the plate. This is obviously sped up a whole lot. It doesn't really go this fast, because I think if it did, it would break everything. But yeah, the build plate comes up, which is pretty unique. I can't say I've had any failures on this, and I guess that is down to its unique design. So I wasn't too sure which ones of the jousting figures I was going to print or paint. So I printed out several. So as you can see, the build plate comes off nicely. And if you've seen me talk about this before, it's got some flappy paddles on the side. And the thing with these flappy paddles is you twist them up and down, and it pushes off the miniatures. So no more scraping, which this I absolutely love. Yeah, I used to hate scraping miniatures off because sometimes they'll be a right little bugger. And yeah, I have actually pierced my skin with a scraper because I've missed or gone over the edge. So flappy paddles, things come off perfectly. Obviously, he's wearing gloves. They've now been in a wash. They're now in some warm water, and the warm water just helps to release all the supports. As you can see, yeah, and just peel away nicely. Obviously, still wearing gloves because say these have been in the wash, but they need to be cured just to sort of well harden all the resin. And luckily, I had a nice warm day, so I put my little miniatures outside. So you can use obviously wash and cure stations, but if not, you could just use a bucket full of isopropyl alcohol and then put things outside if it's well, sunny, which unfortunately it isn't now. Obviously we're getting very near winter, so yeah, luckily I have got a curing machine which I can use inside. And yeah, it's a case of them figuring out which miniatures I like the look of. Obviously, I wanted a bit of a dynamic pose, and I wanted it to look clearly that one of these guys was winning and the other one was losing. Again, just to indicate with the game that there is a winner and a loser. So I printed out one of my bases. I made this up in Tinkercad ages ago. Been using these quite a lot. Stuck on obviously the post between the two guys, and that's a case of putting them on. So yeah, this is where a lot of people can be saying, "Ooh, you should be painting these miniatures prior to putting them on." Yeah, I like sticking everything together and then giving myself a challenge to be able to paint these. Because obviously, as you can see, there's a few areas it's going to be tricky to get to, but that's half the fun of painting. As much as I like making painting easy for myself, sometimes it is fun to have a bit of a challenge. And that's definitely what I've done here. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I should really have painted them separately and then glued everything together afterwards. But I like to have everything in place so I know where it is, how it looks, and all the rest. And I say, yeah, painting. Don't always make it easy on yourself. So done the usual, primed it in black. But obviously, dry brush in white will be very tricky to get to certain areas, and I didn't want to break their lovely lances. So I've gone with the zenithal highlight from above. So as you can see, yeah, nice and white from above, but there are going to be some nice dark areas in, well, nooks and crannies, and obviously definitely the underneath of everything, which is pretty cool. So the first thing I did was painted the base black because I want to do some dry brushing on there to give it an oldie worldy sort of copper kind of feel. So that's exactly obviously what I'm doing here. So I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing. Can't get away from dry brushing. I do love dry brushing and speed paints. Yeah, they've been amazing. They've definitely changed my whole outlook and feel when it does come to painting because these get some great effects that are very easy. Because prior to using speed paints and dry brushing, everything I painted just looked like solid colours and obviously a bit pants. Obviously, chuck a wash over things that does help. But yeah, speed paints, dipping inks, contrast paints, whatever you may want to call them, or whichever ones you use. Yeah, I'm lucky enough that I have got the full range of the Army Painter speed paints, but I've also got the full range of the Green Stuff World dipping inks. And I do love having the variety of both of them. If you've gone from speed paints to the dipping inks, be aware they are a lot more fluid. These do flow a lot more, so be careful how much you put on your brush, because otherwise it will run. It's like water. But the good thing with that is, I do find that it really does get into the nooks and crannies a whole lot more. There are some speed paints that I've used, and they don't work as well as other speed paints, as in the colours. Whereas all the different inks seem to work really well. So as you can see, yeah, I've got my little paint rack here, which is pretty cool because I can see the colours instantly. So I painted all the little buttons there, but I've also painted all the lids. So I'd highly recommend painting the lids of your bottles just so you can see how it comes out. And with the lids, I actually did them, primed them in black, dry brushed white. So again, I could see exactly how the paint's going to look prior to me sort of picking it to go on the miniature. And again, say I'm lucky enough that I've got the two sets, so I've never really had to mix colours to get new colours. As in like the browns, I've got a choice of probably about 18 different browns that I can use. So there's definitely going to be one there that I like. And obviously the good thing with that is you can use a whole different array of browns on a miniature or on a little diorama like this, and then they all look different, like different shades of brown. So definitely some darker ones, and obviously some lighter ones, which is really good. So with the miniature, yeah, it's keeping it kind of obviously relatively simple. And I say it did pose a little bit of a challenge getting into some of those areas because obviously, well, it was difficult getting my hand and the brush there. So it's definitely a case of moving the miniature around a whole lot more to well to accommodate where I could get the brush. Again, I know people will be saying, yeah, painting bits separately is a whole lot easier, and yeah, of course it is. But where's the fun in that sometimes? Yeah, so when it comes to dioramas, I think every diorama I've done, I think I've always built the thing fully and then given myself the fun or struggle of trying to sort of paint it. So painting the floor, yeah, I was thinking of kind of like a sandy color. Yeah, I was just kind of thinking they'd be doing this on the sand. So the paintbrush, a bit small. If you've seen a lot of my videos, you'll always hear me saying I need to get bigger brushes. I've finally got some bigger brushes, which makes obviously painting larger areas a whole lot easier, rather than doing a little brush and it taking forever. So I've just used the silver, so that's sort of all over them now. Um, and yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Obviously, the silver I use isn't the speed paint one. I do like the speed paint silver. It goes on really well. Coverage is good, but it looks, well, just like normal silver. There's no real sort of contrast in it. So whenever I do silver, yeah, I use any kind of silver I've got, and then I know I'm going to do a wash over the top just to sort of make it, well, make it look like there is a bit more contrast in it. Because obviously the washes are great because they go into the nooks and crannies and definitely make them areas darker, which is pretty cool. So yeah, what I was going to say on this miniature, there is one reason why it would have probably been better to have painted these miniatures, not sort of glued in place. There's so much detail in these. The actual cloak on the blue guy has got checker patterns. So if I'd done him separately, I could have painted the checker patterns because there was the lines already there. But there's no way I could have done the checker patterns on the inside. There's Indy, my cat. Yeah, she loves sort of saying hello, seeing what I'm doing. Plus, obviously, with these paints, I shake them. They have the little metal balls in to sort of help release and move around all the pigments. But whenever I do shake these bottles, yeah, Indy's thinking, "Oh, food time," and then comes along, jumps up on my desk, has a little walk around, has a little bit of a sniff, realizes no, there isn't any food. It's just the old geezer painting, and then she leaves. But yeah, I love her coming up. So again, say using the browns, but the horses, yeah, they're obviously they're going to be my ones are going to be brown. I do two different shades of brown. You'll see the other one being done, or I think I've already done it. Yeah, it's a reddish brown for one of them, and then like a normal brown for the other one. So I'm kind of thinking this guy under his saddle, he does have some sort of cloth going over to protect the horse. So trying to keep obviously the colours relatively similar. So yeah, a blue guy and a red guy just to make them look nice and different. And so I love how these kind of say that even the shields, they have raised areas split on them, so you can sort of paint them. Obviously, this one's going to have the crisscross, the other one's just split in half. To say, yeah, the details, guys, go check out all the links down below. These miniatures are amazing. I have printed out some of these other ones in the past as well. So lots of detail and great, obviously, for medieval sort of wargaming. Yeah, check out the link to that. And say everything's printed out so well. Been using the Halo X1 now. Oh, I can't remember when I first got this thing. I've had it. Was it a year? I've had it a long time, and yeah, love it. It's worked every time. It looks great, and I say flappy paddles to get your miniatures off. It is just awesome. So it's pretty much done now. I just need to go over obviously any areas, especially the metal areas, with a wash, just to add that contrast in. So with the washes, I've never really used black. I mean, well, I have used black, but I don't like it. I find the black washes make things just look dirty. So I always go with sepia sort of washes. And this one obviously is it's a skin tone wash, um, but it is obviously more on the edge of like being brownish. So yeah, these are the kind of washes I do. Again, this is where guys, when it comes to using washes, we're all different. Some people can look at this and go, "Oh, he's putting tons on," and yeah, you're right. I am putting tons on, but that's because I love things to look really kind of grungy, dirty, weathered, well used. It's like this fence post. Liked it, but again, it didn't look like there's enough contrast. So I went over it with a wash. Same with the lancers. The initial colour I used, it looked too pale. So yeah, I went over them again. But yeah, there we go. So this is now the winner's trophy. So whenever I play a game with my mate, whoever wins gets to keep it for obviously those couple of weeks. So if my mate wins, which he's done more than me, he'll be taking this home, whether he wants to or not, and putting it on his shelf. But for the moment, obviously, I've made it, so it's here. Plus, I did win the last game. Very close. Again, this is why I love this game. There's so many times where it looks like it's going one way, and then the next minute, no, it's changing and it's going the other way. Because obviously, as much as a lot of it is down to do with Well, tactics and how you move your characters and what characters you use. We roll the dice, and sometimes you can be lucky. So, for instance, in this one, say I had one of my priests left, two of them died right at the very beginning. That's why I thought I was going to lose within about half an hour. My last guy, he saves on a 6, and he saved 3 times. Anyway, guys, like, share, subscribe, leave comments, all that wonderful stuff. Take care. See you next one. Bye now.